At number 10 we have Kassogtha, a giant ball of tentacles from a cosmic world too insane for our minds to understand. She is one of the oldest beings in the universe and is known for having a fierce temper. It's said that she can use her tentacles to reach out and pluck any living thing from its home and devour it in one bite. And if that wasn't enough to freak you out, I have a video that might be this queen of terror flying through Earth. Wow, that looked terrifying. If I ever saw something like that coming in a fog, I think I would just go back inside and watch Infinity War again. I'd be like, yeah, that's how I want to go up. I don't have any choice right now, I'm gonna die doing this. And of course there's a good chance that this video is edited, but what's the fun in that? Let's believe together that there's a giant squid monster out there that would kill any of us in a moment and can make you drift into madness just from looking at it. That's cool. At number 9 we have Gaunts. The Gaunts are some of the smaller creations from the Lovecraftian universe. They have long slim arms and legs, kind of like a Slender Man crossed between some sort of feral dude. They also have humanoid faces but lacking noses and ears. They have sharpened teeth and kangaroo-like legs with hooves for feet. Their bodies are hairless and their skin is pale white. They are about the same size as a man, and all these characteristics sound very similar to the extremely popular creepypasta The Rake. There are so many similarities between these two monstrosities, and there is a ton of online reports of people seeing the Rake in real life or being attacked by this creature. So most of you are like, well, those are fake. But if even one of them is true, we might have a Nast running around trying to kill people, and it just has been named something else for a new generation. At number 8 we have the Deep Ones. Fish-like humanoids that look a lot like the King Zora from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. They will sometimes mate with humans who they find wandering by large bodies of water. But I can't imagine these creatures would be that sexy. In other words, you wouldn't want them to swim up to you and give you a nice fishy cold kiss unless you want to know what the ocean tastes like. Ugh. They live deep underwater and worship the fish god Dagon. With their fishy features and interest in mating with people, it sounds a lot like mermaids. Basically they all do the same things, and mermaids have been sighted and reported throughout history. In the 17th century, Captain Richard Whitbourne reported seeing mermaids off the coast of Newfoundland. He said that they were beautiful and they would try to seduce him. Sounds a lot like the Deep Ones. All these underwater creatures are a horny bunch, that's for sure. At number 7 we have Dagon. Dagon? Correct me in the comments. This massive immortal fish who the Deep Ones pray to. He is their god, and due to his massive size and power, he has earned the right to be worshipped. He is an old great one. He belongs to the same family as the Lovecraft superstar Cthulhu. It is his destiny to mate with Mother Hydra. I assume to make a lot more crazy fish monsters that would take over the world. And we might have some footage of him for you. That footage was from a hurricane moving through Miami, and if I was a giant cosmic fish monster, I would say that a massive storm would be my main form of transportation. Also, that noise it makes is terrifying. Like most mythical creatures, there isn't a clear shot of it. Maybe they all have a hidden power to blur themselves out of any sort of footage. The good news is that if Dagon is real, he likes to be worshipped. So we can make some sort of deal with him. We pray to you, you don't kill humanity, everybody wins. At number 6 we have Mygos. These guys are trippy and have a lot going on. They look like some sort of crustacean that has reproduced with a fungus and then sprouted wasp wings. They are extremely intelligent and able to travel through the solar system and beyond with ease. They take humans from Earth and transport them to Pluto and remove their brains. They worship the old gods and once waged war on the elder things prior to humans walking the Earth. Their appearance being crossed between an insect and a fungus reminds me of something that still exists here on Earth. That was the cordyceps fungus. It infects insects, driving their minds crazy until they die. Then the fungus will grow out of their dead bodies, spreading to other insects. These deformed corpses of insects look very close to the description of the Mygos. The Mygos existed on Earth long before people ever walked the Earth, and there are some biologists who think that fungus are even older than the Earth and that they could have come from space. Could this fungus be a descendant of the Lovecraftian monster, slowly getting stronger, taking over minds one by one until it's able to reclaim the Earth and return to its final form? At number 5 we have the Night Gaunts. These are demonic looking creatures that have featureless faces, dark thick skin, large bat-like wings, and clawed hands. Nightmares of these creatures would torment H.P. Lovecraft when he was a child. I would assume that Lovecraft had a mind for the dark and twisted from an early age, and that's how he was able to come up with so many terrifying beasties. The description of these creatures seems to be very similar to many beings that have been mentioned throughout history, like gargoyles, demonic winged creatures that would come alive only at night, sometimes to snatch away children, or even demons from the Bible, flying out of fiery hell to consume the people of Earth and spread darkness. Maybe all the nightmarish night gaunts that Lovecraft saw when he was a child weren't just in his head, but they were really tormenting him, trying to take him away and corrupt his soul. He had to tell himself that they were just part of his imagination so he could stay sane. Now a few viewers are going to grow up with a fear of gargoyles and then remember this video 15 years from now when they're in therapy. At number 4 we have the Gloon. A trickster and a horror. Gloon originally presented itself to man in the form of the Greek god of wine Dionysus, but it didn't take long for his true form to come out and terrify his victims. Its real form is that of a giant slug with thick skin and a body that is long and grotesque. It is able to manipulate the minds of the people around him either for consumption, worship, or to do its bidding. It's said that Gloon has been locked away in the sunken city of Atlantis but is still able to use its powers to manipulate people. It will force them to walk into the ocean and drown themselves. This is the beast's helpless attempt at trying to get some poor soul to free it from its prison. There have been tales of demons that walk around in the forests of Peru. They will find people who are sleeping, whisper to them in their sleep, and then lead them to water. It's said that the demon will then drown them and then take them to their underwater world. This could be Gloon using its powers to try and free itself. Let's hope it stays locked up. At number 3 we have Nyarlathotep. He is also one of the great cosmic gods of the Lovecraftian universe, but what makes him so much more dangerous than the rest of the ones we've gone over so far is that he is not asleep. The other gods stay in a constant hibernation, but not Nyarlathotep. He has been banished from Earth, but that doesn't mean he won't use his great power to visit the Earth in various ways. It's said that he has 1,000 other forms. He usually comes to Earth in the form of a pharaoh or leader of a cult, someone to gain praise from followers and try to increase his power. So perhaps we have seen him, we just never knew it. Some cults that have popped up throughout history could have been the great god in disguise. The infamous cult leader Jim Jones talked of alien beings and how his followers' souls would be transported into space. Could this have been the work of the Lovecraftian monster all along? At number 2 on our list is Azeroth. This is probably the Lovecraftian monster that I am most afraid of. Azeroth is a cosmic being that sits at the center of the universe and is constantly lulled to sleep by the song of a powerful god. It's Azeroth who created the universe, and if he ever wakes up, it will be he who ends it. His consciousness is life and death. Now, how could anyone ever see something that sits at the center of the universe? Well, if this creature exists, then proof of it would be the Big Bang. The cosmic microwave signals that are picked up throughout the universe could be the murmurs of its sleep. Let's just hope that the being singing to it never loses its tune. And for our number 1 spot we have Cthulhu. So I had 2 options here. I could have left Cthulhu off the list because everyone knows Cthulhu, or I could have just slapped him at number 1. And I was like, dude, this guy's the poster boy for the whole brand of this genre of horror, and we might have a clip of him caught on camera. He's got the wings, he's got the size, and he's making that horrible booming noise. A video like this is enough to make you go on a conspiracy theory deep dive. Out of all the footage I've shown you so far, I would say that I believe this one is real the most. It just kind of looks like the real thing. Of course, if it is real, you better put a squid on your head and start praying to your new god, because all the other ones are dead. At number 10 we have the Dunwich Horror. Here's the thing about the Lovecraftian universe. There's a lot of weird sex stuff that's going on, and that is the general backstory of the Dunwich Horror. He was born in the small town of Dunwich, and his mother was human, but his father was one of the outer gods, Yog-Sothoth. You think your dad being a god would be legendary, you would be able to lift buildings up like Hercules, but this is the Lovecraftian universe. The Dunwich Horror was a deformed beast, and his mother and grandfather kept him alive in a barn by feeding him cattle. That grocery bill was massive! The Dunwich Horror can suck down a bunch of cows in a single sitting. My parents used to say I ate a lot as a kid, but they had no idea. I could have been an intergalactic beast with an insatiable appetite. The reason this monstrosity could be real is because it is invisible and could be floating around right in front of you and you wouldn't even know it. Maybe the smell would give it away, probably smells like runoff sewage or something. Also, in the classic Lovecraftian style, anyone who looks at this creature will go insane. So if anyone had seen the monster, we would never believe them because their mind would turn into a pile of mush and they'd just be blabbering all over the place about some creature. At number 9 we have Kassogtha. Shape-shifting massive blobs of tentacles, hearts, lungs, and whatever organs it needs to accomplish a task. These creatures can change their bodies at will and are hideous in nature. They were originally slaves to the Elder Things and were used to terraform Earth millions of years ago. After millions of years of servitude, they eventually fought back against the Elder Thing overlords and took planet Earth as their own. They lived on Earth for millions of years after after that under their own control. Over time they slowly withered away until they were all gone, but it's said that there are some still alive in the deep ocean. There is so much that we don't know about the ocean floor, so what if there are some of those creatures down there, and we already see creatures who don't really adhere to conventional evolution standards. Have you seen a jellyfish? The dudes have no lungs, no hearts, no brain, and they're still getting it done down in the ocean below. Some of these strange creatures we see in the ocean could be descendants of the Lovecraftian beasts. At number 8 we have Yog-Sothoth. This creature is one of the outer gods and is considered one of the most dangerous creatures in the entire Lovecraftian universe. It has an immense size and a complete disregard for anything living. It is unknown what the true motivation of all the outer gods are. Its thought process is far beyond anything of human understanding. It would be like explaining the plot of The Sopranos to a beetle. It just doesn't work out. But this creature sits at the center of the universe, so it could exist, but we would never have any idea to know if it does exist or not. If Yog-Sothoth is real, we would have to thank him for creating the universe, but I think if you started a church of Yog-Sothoth, some of the other religions would get really upset and they would try to shut you down. You probably look like a cult. And what makes this beast so dangerous is it's kept in a constant sleep state, and if it ever wakes up, it will destroy the universe in an instant just with its mind. That's pretty crazy. At number 7 we have the Deep Ones. Think of the Little Mermaid, but take out everything pretty and replace it with a bunch of creepy stuff, and then make everyone look like they were just pulled out of a fish tank at SeaWorld. The Deep Ones are a race of fish humanoids who live deep underwater, sometimes invading small fishing villages for food and mates. Some of the Deep Ones have the ability to look closer to human than fish. This would allow them to live among us without us knowing. So next time you're in a small fishing village, try to keep to yourself. Don't end up fish food. Even worse, you can end up meeting someone there, and then you think they're really nice, you go on a few dates, then you really like them, and you find out that they're half fish and they want you to move to their underwater world with them. Like, calm down, dude, it's only been a few dates, you're moving too fast. You want us to move in together? Jeez. At number 6 we have Yig, the king of snakes. This guy sounds like he should be in a heavy metal video ripping a sick guitar solo, like, and he's all snake like. He is the king of snakes who controls snakes, loves snakes, looks like a snake, talks to snakes. This dude is so metal, I feel like he's been used on 47 album covers. Yig is considered the snake god. He looks like a massive serpent, but has human arms. I mean, how else could he rip a sick guitar solo? Of course he has human arms. Now this legend is usually in hibernation, but comes into consciousness once a year. Every fall he comes back to the land of the living to do 2 things. 1, he will party with all his snake buddies and see how everyone is doing. Check in with everyone, be like, how's your mom doing? Making sure everyone's healthy. And the other thing he will do is get revenge on everyone who has wronged a snake. Snake Revenge is the most balling name of all time. I'm gonna copyright it and start a band or something, because I don't, that's so good. By Snake Revenge, I mean he finds anyone who has been mean to a snake and then turns them into a snake or has them killed by a horde of snakes. So if this dude is real, be nice to snakes, bro. At number 5 we have Wilbur Whateley. This guy is the brother of the Dunwich Horror, but he looks much more like a human. He has the same mother, Lavinia, and the same father, Yog-Sothoth. But instead of turning into a massive monster, he was human looking from the chest up. He has human looking hands and a human looking face, but below the nips it gets a little wild. Once you pass the areolas, this thing gets nuts. His skin is like a reptile and he has legs that look like a raptor. He also has a massive tail that has a mouth on the end and eyeballs on his hips. His dating profile would be a mess. He wears flowy clothes so you can't tell that he's a monster. So he could be living among us and we would never know if he just is wearing the right thing. At number 4 we have Dragon. He is the god of the deep ones and is a massive fish monster hidden deep underwater. He only comes to the surface when he is summoned by the deep ones. This thing is huge. He could swipe a battleship in half with a single slash. Think of Godzilla with more fish parts. Very little is known about this beast. I think the reason he could be real is because we know so little about the ocean floor. There could be a massive fish god living down there and we just wouldn't know. Also, if the deep ones are real, they need Dragon because he would be their father. This dude gets around for sure. You have a whole village of people related to you? Dude, chill out. Maybe meet someone nice and like slow down. At number 3 we have Yog-Sothoth. In my opinion, this is one of the grossest creatures in the Lovecraftian universe. It seduces people with dark thoughts into being its slaves. People will work with this monster so they can fill out their own beautiful, dark, twisted fantasies. Kanye! Yog-Sothoth loves to torture people in the most horrible ways imaginable. When he takes a physical form, he looks like a headless, morbidly obese man with mouths on each palm. Think of the pale man from Pan's Labyrinth, but on my 600-pound life. Why could this guy be real? Well, we have so much horror in the world that something like Yog-Sothoth could feed off the energy and find a lot of people to run around and do his bidding. Number 2, we got the Hounds of Tindalos. If you guys are thinking that this one is a cute little puppy, then you are way off. These things look more like a giant floating dinosaur that has been skinned and has the mouth of a Komodo dragon that is constantly dripping blue drool. They are horrible creatures that have the ability to move through time and space. So if they find you, there is no escape. They exist primarily in a time before any life had developed on Earth. But if they get the craving for humans, they will bolt through time to get it. Something that triggers these cravings is humans attempting to time travel. This is why I have them so high on the list. Could we see humans discover time travel in the near future and then start messing around with the fabric of reality? These species blow through a hole in space-time and then bring the end of humanity. Could that happen? I don't know, but have fun sleeping. And for the number 1 spot, we have Yog-Sothoth. We have talked about him a bunch on the list already, so it only makes sense that we throw him at the number 1 spot. So what is this creature? Well, his true form is a mass of glowing orbs, but he exists beyond time and space. It's unknown what he actually is. He is all-knowing and perhaps has been in existence since before the creation of our universe. If some of the other creatures on this list are real, then he has to be, because he is literally their dad. He would be impossible to locate with our technology that we have now. So if he is real, just hope he doesn't want to make you his wife and make monster babies with you, because it seems like he does that sometimes. That's all the advice I really have. Okay, sorry.
Coming in at number 9, we have the Nyarlathotep. H.P. Lovecraft described the god monster Nyarlathotep in a letter to a friend, saying that the idea for the creature had come from a horrible reoccurring nightmare that he had been having since he was 10. So this literally is a monster from your nightmares. He described the creature as being horrible beyond anything you can imagine, but wonderful too. Nyarlathotep is a crawling chaos who presents as an Egyptian pharaoh with a smooth, featureless face, able to gain an army of faithful followers. To meet Nyarlathotep is to be drawn into his thrall and forget the world around you. He'll manipulate you for his gain and enjoys sending people mad. There is no fighting him because he has superhuman strength. Coming in at number 6, we have Old One-Eye. His name's my favourite, I have to say. Hello, Old One-Eye. Although, to be totally fair, I would not be saying hello if I saw him ever, because he's terrifying and we absolutely can't be friends. I would firmly run in the other direction, not that that would do me any good, because I'm basically sure he can outrun me. Old One-Eye indeed has a solitary eye because his other was burned out with a close-range shot from a plasma pistol. Of course. The pistol also dispensed with around 50% of his face too, which is terrifying. It's just burned away. Old One-Eye is kind of like a giant 6-limbed crab with scythe bone blade arms. His skin is red, he's prone to unstoppable bloody rampages, and he can regenerate if harmed. Honestly, it didn't help him grow back his eye though, did it? Coming in at number 5, we have the Night Gaunts. Have a look-see here at this beastie. We have talked about cosmic monsters of epic proportion that can send people mad even by trying to comprehend and understand their forms, and that is scary, but so is a horned winged creature with oily bodies, paws and claws and a barbed tail. The Night Gaunts are much more comprehensible than some of the god monsters, but they are scary nonetheless. They're described as being nightmarish creatures that can interact with humans through their dreams. They are black with rubbery slick skin, they've got no face, just flesh. They never speak of life or smile, they're totally blank. All they do is clutch and fly and tickle. Tickle, seriously, please get away from me. I don't like being tickled, honestly. Coming in at number 4, we have mentioned him a little bit briefly, we have Yog-Sothoth. Right, so Yog-Sothoth is a massive collection of glowing orbs with spooky tendrils at best description, but totally indescribable at worst. Yog-Sothoth is a child of the nameless mists and devised visualization. Trying to comprehend it, once again, can send humans mad. Again, a very common theme amongst Lovecraftian monsters. The Yog-Sothoth is an all-seeing, omnipresent being that lives outside of our universe whilst being able to control beings within it. It can appear on Earth as avatars though, including as an eater of souls. Despite being mind-bendingly monumental and with the power to destroy your mind and soul, there's actually a lot to be learned from the Yog-Sothoth if treated with respect. Coming in at number 3, we have the Spider of Leng. Shout out to my fellow arachnophobes. course, ain't nobody got time for these giant purple spiders. And giant purple spiders really is their best description. These fearsome beasts range from the size of a small horse, but can reach proportions bigger than the largest of elephants. 8 eyes, 8 legs, the ability to climb pretty much anything, the spiders of Leng have an extremely venomous bite. They aren't above eating one another either, so they wouldn't think twice about gobbling you up. They won't go out looking for you, but if you stumble across their lair, these huge arachnids will kill you and eat you. Hip hip hurrah. For those of you out there with a cosmic fear of the unknown, scared of black holes, the abyss, or dying simply because the thought of nothingness is too mind-bending, this one's for you. We have the blackness from the stars at number 2. This is an existential heart attack of a monster. The blackness from the stars is seemingly formed of all of the darkness in the cosmos. It is the blackness surrounding all creation. It is sentient darkness. Have you ever felt like the shadows are watching you? Do you ever feel like the night sky is awake? A scary thought, right? An intelligent nothingness really does freak me out. It's a blackness that understands everyone and everything, but chooses not to communicate. When it does speak though, it speaks in a language unknown to anyone but the blackness itself. What? Coming into number 1, we have the Dweller in the Gulf. The Dweller in the Gulf is a giant, super giant tortoise with disconcertingly wet white and gold milky skin. Ugh, milky tortoise. Blah. It walks on a dozen stumpy legs with super suckers that allow it to scale sheer surfaces. It has 2 tails, which are all the better for whipping you with. Wanna know the creepiest thing about this monster? Well, it doesn't have eyes, but it does like to gouge out the eyes of its prey with a pair of long snouts. Wait, it gouges out your eyes with twin noses. Okay, that is rank. After eating the eyes of the innocent, it turns them into blind servants. The servants also can't see, and they spend their days stroking statues of the Dweller until he appears to them, which is so creepy. No worries though, the Dweller in the Gulf lives below the surface of Mars. Yes, Mars. So maybe NASA want to rethink their 2020 mission after all.